Hi, this is Greg with Barber's Foods, and we're going to show you how to prep a Morgan Ranch Wagyu prime rib roast for the holidays. These are available in a 4-piece box or a 1-piece box, so 1 prime rib per box. And when you get them, they're frozen. And the best way to thaw this is in your refrigerator over a couple of days. So this roast I left in my refrigerator for 4 days. And now it's nice and thawed out. And if you didn't have time to do that, then you can leave it out on your counter for all day on your counter, and it'll thaw out too. But the slow method is best because you get the least amount of purge. You can see there's not very much purge in this bag. That's the liquid in the muscle cells coming out, but not too bad. So we're going to open this up now and season it and put it in the oven. And there's different ways to cook this. You could steak this out if you wanted to steak this roast out and not use it as a prime rib roast, but you could make steaks out of it. That's a great option if you want to. Get the bag off here. They have these soaker pads on the back here. You want to make sure you remove the soaker pads. Those soak up any extra liquid that's in the bag. And we're just going to season this. I'm going to season this side first because I have, I'm going to cook it fat side up. So this is just some seasoning, dried onion, dried garlic, and kosher salt and pepper. And I'm going to put a heavy dose around this whole side, just kind of cake it on. You can also use fresh garlic on here. I'm actually going to do that on the top side. Put some fresh garlic on it, and then that'll soak in. And now you can also, if you want to, cut this in half, because a lot of times when you're cooking a roast, you might have a lot of guests that like the end pieces more well done. If I cook this roast all like this, I'm going to have well done here, and then, you know, medium rare in the middle. So I like to have more well done pieces though for my guests that like well done. So I'm just going to cut this in half, and you can do that very easily right here in the pan, or you can lay this on a chopping block and cut it on a chopping block if you want to. But I almost got this done here. There we go. Now I've got 2 prime rib roasts, and the benefit of this is now I can season these ends too. You can see that delicious marbling inside here. Looks great. And I'm going to season the top side here too with my mixture, a little bit here. This can go on very liberally. The excess will just fall off. But, and then I have some garlic I'm going to put on here. I'm just going to rub some garlic on here. Just a little bit. Just kind of massage it in. On the ends here too. And then as far as how long to cook this, make sure you cook it uncovered. Don't cover this. That's a big mistake that people make sometimes, is they will cover this with tin foil like they're cooking a turkey or something, and it won't brown that way and it won't get done. We're going to put an aluminum tent over it after we get it out of the oven, which we'll show you here briefly at the end here. But for now, we're just going to put this in there. So it's just about ready. And I'm going to cook it fat side up. And as far as the temperature, I want to have this thing, I'm going to use my temperature probe here. And I'm going to put that in the middle part of the meat, the thickest part of the meat here. And then that way I don't have to open the oven all the time. If you don't have one of these are really handy. They're inexpensive. You can get these at Home Depot or Lowe's or online for about $20. They're not expensive, and they allow you to know what the internal temperature of your meat is without having to open up the oven a lot. I'm just going to change the location of this a little bit so it comes out the top. And if you have a bone-in roast, you want to make sure that this doesn't touch the bone or anywhere near the bone. But this is a boneless roast that I got from barbersfoods.com, and I'm going to put this in the oven right now. And I'm going to pull this out of the oven when it's at 130 degrees internal temperature. So here we go. In the oven, and we'll see you in a couple hours. Okay, so it's about 2.5 hours later, although it's best to cook prime ribs not by the amount of time as much as by the internal temperature. So make sure you have an internal meat thermometer like this, or the digital one that I showed you when I put in. And I set my oven to 500 degrees, and then after 30 minutes, I turned it down to 350. And then I cooked it until the internal temperature was at 130. 130 will make it medium rare on the inside and give me well done on the outside. Now when you're done cooking this, when your internal temperature is at 130, if you like medium rare, remember it's going to keep cooking when you pull it out of the oven. That retained heat in here will allow it to keep cooking. If you do not want to slice this now, you want to tent it. So now is when you put some foil over it and just let it sit. You can let it sit anywhere from 15 minutes at the minimum to an hour if you needed an hour before dinner. What I would do if I was going to keep this an hour is I'd let it sit out here on the counter for 15-20 minutes, and then if I needed to keep it warmer, I'd put towels over it, or I'd put it back in the oven at like 175 just to keep it hot. But you do want to let it stand, and that'll let it set up, and then you'll move it to a carving board and slice it, and you'll get some beautiful pieces on the end for your end cuts, and your middles will be at medium rare. So one thing too is that oftentimes people will pull this and it's like, wow, it's just not done enough yet. You can always cut it into steaks at this point and cook it on a cast iron skillet on your stovetop to finish it off. You're still going to have that great flavor, and then you don't have to put it back in the oven if people are ready to eat. Or let's say you have a guest that says, gosh, I really like medium well, but all the medium well pieces are gone. If you have a cast iron skillet over here on your stovetop or any other skillet, you can just cook it in some butter, saute it, and get it done just like they want it, and it's delicious. So Merry Christmas, everybody.